Good morning. It's your favorite faces over here on DBS, waking you up in the know and waking you up with some bright sunshine. How are you feeling today, Chayla?
Listen, I'm quite excited and I'm very proud. Listen, I had to let her take the lead on this, because like I said, I'll be going pretty soon. I guess literally one more day for my last show. Friday is the final one together. But I know she's going to be so awesome. And yes, you are right. We're going to be bringing some good energy for you today. So I'm ready to deliver. Are you?
I'm certainly ready.
All right, good stuff. Well, people, it is about time for us to wake you up in the know. Of course, our name's on screen, so I think you know who we are by now. So let's take in our morning news highlights.
Good morning. Time now for a summary of your top stories. A student leader, Alan Plant, is calling on the Education Ministry to devise a plan to ensure minimal disruption in the education system in the ongoing pandemic. The call comes as students engage in a second week of distributed learning following the sudden suspension of physical classes for most student groups.
From March 2020 to January 2022, our education system has been on a still. I think that the current administration must look at how COVID was handled under the previous minister, and we must meet at all times with our stakeholders. You must understand that consultation is important when we are making decisions for schooling. Well, the new minister did indicate that the students are safer at school, but we had to see a closure at school. So, more people are asking for transparency for numbers, when it comes to in the schools. We must understand our students must be safe at all times, to be a bit more clearer, or not more clear, but clearer with the numbers. And we need to have a more technical approach on how we're going to have schools for our students. Because our students, they go to school, boom, they're back home. They're still today students who don't have proper devices. I am pleading with the new administration also that the promise for the laptops for the students is broadened for students across the island, and that we do bring back the laptop program.
Plant also believes that high rates of COVID-19 vaccination among the student population can help minimize these disruptions. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education has announced the resumption of in-person classes from next week following the general decline in COVID-19 infections. The ministry says the decision was taken after continued engagement and dialogue with various stakeholders. Given this general improvement in the national health situation and the reduced impact on the school system, a decision has been taken to resume school for all groups and subsectors on Monday, February 7th, 2022, using the face-to-face modality, which may include a whole school or alternate day approach. School principals will inform the public and the parents of their school's specific operational plans. St. Lucia is among a number of Caribbean countries which recorded economic growth in 2021. This and expected economic growth projections were disclosed during the Caribbean Development Bank's annual news conference on Tuesday.
Growth in service exporting economies reflected an almost 10% increase in tourist arrivals between January and September 2021, relative to the same period in 2020, much of which was recorded during the latter part of the period, as many Caribbean countries benefited from a recovery in international leisure travel. This uptick in travel was partly enabled by the introduction of protocols for the safe resumption of international travel, robust vaccination take-up in source markets, and pent-up demand for the region's tourism products.
He explained that the varying economic performances last year illustrated some of the inherent weaknesses of Caribbean economies, that is, their dependence on exploiting their natural resources, whether that is through tourism or commodities like oil and agricultural goods. Consequently, he has emphasized that moving forward, borrowing member countries create more innovative and competitive economies. CBN Inc., the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, both ended 4 months of negotiations on a collective agreement with the official signing of the deal at the Labour Department in Castries this week. Assistant General Secretary at the CSA, Mark Stephen Oberton, says the agreement will redound to the ultimate benefit of all the parties involved.
Well, we have been in partnership with CBN Inc. for the past 12 years. That's our fourth CBA. So all we needed to do this time around was to zero in on the areas where the employees wanted some improvements. And these essentially were obviously the areas of salaries, and we also made some adjustments to the traveling allowance. So it was not a difficult negotiations this time. Our first set of negotiations were difficult because it was the first one. They brought in all the top people from Canada, so it was rough. But since that time, we have had a very, very good relationship with CBN Inc. on behalf of our members at that company.
He says 2020 to 2021 has been a difficult time for workers. However, the union has been able to ensure that workers' rights remain on the front burner. And those are your top stories. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
So that's a wrap for our morning news highlights. However, as Shayla would usually inform you guys, in case you're just joining us, don't worry, it's not too late. You can join us here on DBS at midday or this evening for our other news packages as well.
All right, you see, she learns so quickly and she is definitely on point. So this is where we're going to tell you, get ready, get set with us, and calling all gamers, because this entire show is for you
guys.
So if you're curious to know, stick around. We'll be right back. What's up? And I gotta say a very special good morning to all of our gamers out there. This resonates very much with me, and if you've been really active on your social media, I think by now you would have seen or at least heard about the retro game stores, and it's right here in the Gablewoods Mall. Super exciting. I think this has been well needed on the island, and I'm sure as gamers get to find out, they're going to be rejoicing. But we are here with one of the owners. This is Anthony Suraj. So we're very excited because he's going to take us inside the world of the retro game store. We're going to learn everything that we need to know about what's happening here. So first of all, Anthony, I think it's a great start to the new year that, you know, gamers can have a space like this finally so that they can be enjoying. So just tell us a little bit about the vibe and the concept of the retro game stores.
Okay, well, we recognise that gaming isn't really supported in St. Lucia or across the Caribbean, to be perfectly honest. You know, everyone orders games online, you know, and it's also very difficult because the manufacturers don't support. So when you're buying online, you can't really buy the games, it's difficult. So we thought we'd open a store where we could have a collection of games, not only for the, you know, current consoles and models, but also for some of the rarer models where people have got Xbox 360s here and PS2s and PS3s. So we wanted to support them all.
That's good. Now, you know, I'm happy that you're saying that too, because I think even just in general for the Caribbean region, we're a little bit overlooked for gaming, but that's not to mean that we don't have the movements here. Like islands like Barbados, Trinidad come to mind. You know, they kind of pull together even their conferences and, you know, gaming cons, etc. And we have the potential to be just like this here in St. Lucia. But again, you know, we need a space, we need a support. And I like that you have a very good mix, because it's not just the recent stuff. And I guess that's where the name comes from, the retro game store.
I mean, when we were literally going to call it the game store, yeah. And then what happened was I thought, no, it's going to exclude people that have got things like Wii's and Game Boys and so on and so forth. So when we brought the stock in, we said, okay, let's bring it right across the board for every console. So we actually have games going all the way back to the Sega Mega Drive, and then there's the Virtuo Boy, all the way through to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, and of course we've got Xbox Series X's and PlayStation 5s as well.
Right, now you see, this is like the hot button issue, but we're going to come to that soon enough so that you guys will be aware, because we all know about the hype right now for the PS5 and even how it's a rare commodity these days. But before we jump into that, I mean, what was the vision behind bringing this store to life, and what exactly you and the team aim to do?
Well, it's a multi-pronged approach where, first of all, we wanted to make gaming cheap, you know, and when we say the word cheap, the word is affordable, because as a Caribbean child, you know, parents will turn around and say, you know, $100, $200 for a game? No. You know, so we wanted to bring games in. So our games we wanted to bring games in at $10, $20, so that if people did have things or they inherited a console, it would be easy to get new games and so on and so forth. Right. So that was the original plan. And then it just grew, and we thought, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll open several stores up and down the island and then move on from there across the remainder of the Caribbean. So I was looking at the model of things like GameStop, for example, as a company, because they've come in and they've made gaming accessible and affordable in small regions in America and so on and so on. And I thought, well, why can't we do that here? So that's where this store was born. It was born from the idea or concept that we could try and make it affordable. We already give away equipment to things like the St. Lucia Sports Academy, so we thought they're going to get into esports, they've got an esports program, so why can't we bring games in that we can give to them, have consoles we can give. And then I met up with Ted Sandiford.
Right.
And that was one of the eureka moments, because I was saying to him that, you know, gaming is not really as big in St. Lucia as it could be. So we came up with the idea of giving away Nintendo Wii's and PlayStation 3s and some of the older consoles as part of competitions, mainly to encourage people into gaming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the relationship developed then with myself and Ted, and we decided to open 4 stores in St. Lucia, and that's what we're doing.
Great. Now, I'm happy that you mentioned Ted, because I was about to say, I know this is truly something that you're passionate about, if our viewers haven't already picked up on, and you are collaborating and, you know, just pulling together with people who have that shared passion. And we know Ted for not just his artistic skills, but absolutely loves his gaming. We've seen Scaddy, and we're going to mention, you know, an up-and-coming gamer, TJ, who has just been putting licks and busting tails down here, and that's been drawing a lot of views on the social media page as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of excitement right now.
There is. You know, TJ, you know, he's 8 years old. He came here, he played the shop manager Boom at a game. And the first true victim. And I think we're at 1.4 million views now.
Wow.
With that video. But TJ is quite a special little player anyway. So, you know, and as a person that's been a gamer my whole life, and I was involved in writing games when I was 13 and 14 years old.
And I wanted to tap into your roots, because people need to understand that too. At 13 years old, he did his first gaming program. Okay, that's at 1-3. So that's to show you how far this love has started.
Yeah, it's the scary bit is that there's 3 8s on top of that now. So it's a very, very long time ago when I wrote a game. And yes, at the time it feels like how it was in St. Lucia then, because at the time the gaming community, there was nothing. You went to one store, they sold 12 games, you know, so, and that's the time when I wrote a game, and yes, it went on to be taken on by Codebusters, which went on to sell, you know, quite a lot. And my passion for gaming so my passion for gaming went on there, and I've kind of always been in that arena, but I've always been more IT focused.
Right.
And so whilst I've encouraged my children to play games for things like learning, dexterity, and to get them out of my way, there has been the real approach of, you know, them learning through play anyway, because, you know, sometimes that's the best way to go.
Right.
And, you know, they learn to spell, they learn to find things purely because they need to, there's a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always encouraged that. I've encouraged outdoor play as well. I mean, my children pretty much do everything, sail, swim, do the whole lot, but I really encourage gaming, and so there's a passion for me for people to encourage their children the same way, because I see how much developmental growth that they have just by learning, and how much interaction you can have, especially with COVID where everyone's locked in, and now they can chat on Fortnite and so on and so forth and meet each other, and they can still integrate and collaborate and whatever else, and I think this is really important. So
well, listen, on this note, as we kind of get ready to wrap this up, because you guys need to stick around. There's going to be a part 2 to this, and it's all about TJ, so we're going to dive into this world of young gamers as well. But what would be the message you want to send across to our viewers in a nutshell, so that they just know that you guys are here, and again, that they have a home here at the Retro Game Store?
This is your store. This is your store. You come down, there's people that have come here and they've been short on a game, or they've turned around. Boom's even sat down and said, write down the price you want to pay. This is your store. If you're into gaming, or you want to get into gaming, or you want to learn about gaming, or you're involved in any of the esports programs in St. Lucia, I know we've got a very, very good one. Come down. Yeah, we're here. We're just here to support you.
Great. And on that note, what would be the days of opening and the times, so at least persons know so they can come through?
Okay, we're open Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m, and we're open on Sunday by appointments. And we also do repairs. So if you've got old consoles sat there in a drawer that are full of mosquitoes, hurricane damage, and, you know, it's probably cornflower, bring them across and we fix them as well for you.
All right. Well, I like the sound of that, because I have an Xbox 360 sitting at home that needs a little TLC. So at least now we know there's somewhere that we can come right here to call home. So it's the Retro Game Stores. And I'm saying stores because, remember, there's going to be expansion and a lot to look forward to in the future. So follow them on social media. You're going to see the handles on screen right now. And we look forward to seeing you soon. So happy gaming, guys. welcome back. And guess what? We are still here at the Retro Game Stores. And this time we're taking a different twist. And of course, everybody's been hearing about TJ, a very young gamer making waves. Not to mention, I said it in the previous segment, he's been known to be beating some of our well-known gamers down here, veteran gamers even. So, Scatty, good morning to you if you're listening. And, you know, right now I'm excited because you met Anthony in the previous segment as one of the owners here, but he's also, you know, TJ's dad. So who best to first give us that intro than his dad himself, who also has that passion for gaming. So what can you tell us about TJ?
TJ's one of those children. He was a baby. He picked up an iPad. He started playing games. He was counting very early. Again, like I said, being a gamer, gave him game consoles. He's got older brothers, so he was always trying to fight for the controller and, you know, cry when he couldn't play the game and so on and so on. But as time went on, we noticed that he started to narrate the games at 4 years old. So his older brother plugged the camera in. We started a YouTube channel. He had 2.5 million hits. But obviously, there were some really unkind statements on there as well because his vocal development hadn't sort of like really caught on and people were making comments. We didn't really like it. So we took it down, we left it at that. We thought when he's a bit older, if he still wants to make these videos and play these games, then we'd encourage it. As parents, we encourage them to do whatever they want to do, you know, like, you know, it's positive. And then we started noticing that he was really accomplishing a lot on the games. It's when he started getting contacts back regarding, actually from developers, in terms of the times that he'd completed games.
Wow.
A lot of people actually see the videos of things like him playing Mortal Kombat here. The reason why he plays Mortal Kombat here is because the game lasts 3 minutes.
Right.
But TJ actually plays pretty much everything, you know. So many games. But yes, no, he's at the moment he's talking to people from other companies regarding game testing. That's all I can say at the moment.
You know what? Yeah, all we can say is at the moment too, he's gaining international recognition, and that just says a lot. You know, especially with the age range. Because he's not quite old enough to be in some of the international tournaments, but you know, his talents and skills are being recognized.
Yeah, exactly. So at the moment, he's at that nice level where he's at game testing, and a couple of the larger companies want to support him with his YouTube channels and so on and so forth. Plus, he knows a lot of the British top YouTubers as well, so they're all rooting for him. So
good stuff. Well, you know what, the main thing I'm enjoying too as well is the fact that there's support from the parents, because usually, and I think maybe for our region too, when it comes to gaming, parents are a little tougher on kids and think it's strictly brain drain. But I think this story can help open our minds as to how we can use it to still stimulate the minds. You understand?
No, listen, if your children into gaming and they can, like I said, there's esport programs and everything else that are out there that are already well established and working. If the children can play and they're great, go for it. If not, you know, like if we know people that we can put you in touch with, or parents who have got children that play, come and see us and we'll point you in the right direction.
Well, you see, that's what the Retro Game Stores is all about. So right now, you have a little surface about, you know, TJ, but why not hear from him himself? So he's right here, and we're going to get to catch up with him. Hey, listen, everybody, I'm excited because as promised, here is TJ. He is the gamer of the hour, if I should say it this way. And not to mention, I think a lot of people now can recognize you because plenty of people have seen your video beating Scatty. And I think a lot of people have been talking about that. But first of all, I mean, how does it feel? Because there's so many gamers down here who are older than you, and you're definitely doing a good job at showing them who's boss. So how does it feel to just be having fun, but still you're beating the grown-ups?
Good.
And what is the experience like? Anytime they tell you that somebody wants to play against you, how does it make you feel?
Good.
Okay. And what gets you excited about gaming? Or maybe I should ask you, what do you love about gaming?
That you could, like, if you train, you could easily win against people.
Right. Just like you're doing, obviously. So age really doesn't matter. And when you're playing your games, how does it make you feel? Because it's almost like you're in your own world. So just kind of tell us about when you're in your zone and you're playing, how do you feel?
Good.
Somehow I think I saw that answer coming. So a little birdie told me that you want to be a YouTuber, and obviously you are a gamer. So what made you decide on that?
Because I'm good at gaming.
Right. And how long have you been playing games for?
I don't know.
So that sounds like it's been a really long time then, huh? Okay. And what are some of your favorite games to play right now?
Mortal Kombat, Spider-Man, and the game I'm playing right now.
Okay. And what are you playing right now?
It's called Tabs.
Okay. So you see, listen, right now he's listed his 3 favorite games, but what I'd love for you to tell our viewers is, why parents maybe should allow kids to enjoy playing their games, because clearly you're having fun doing it and you're well on your way being a YouTuber. So is there anything you want to say to anybody watching out there as to why they should encourage their kids just like you to be playing their video games and having fun?
Because they could get really good at it and become famous.
All right. Well, listen, in a nutshell, this is a new era. We've been saying it's a new normal. And I think there's so many possibilities when it comes to gaming, to being a YouTuber. Sometimes we turn it down, but you're hearing from TJ himself, who's just having fun, doing something that he loves, and without probably even realizing how serious it is, making a career for himself. So TJ, we're going to let you go back to having fun with your games. We're not going to take too much of that time because there's 2 other special people here, or maybe I should say 2 victims, that we're going to be able to chat with right now. So let's go check them out. Thanks, TJ. So I'm excited. If these guys knew how I did this intro, maybe they might be a little upset with me, but I doubt it. It's all in the spirit of gaming. I did intro. I have 2 victims of TJ's. So, of course, the story started. We all know Booma, I want to call you Booma so bad. That's going to be my name for you, okay? So I have Booma here, but it's actually Boom, guys. But he's the store manager here. And you were one of the first persons to play TJ. And, as we say in St. Lucia, you took some licks, is at least that I saw. So what was your encounter and interaction with TJ like?
Well, at first, since he's 8 years old, I really thought I could have beaten him.
Oh, yeah. Went in with that confidence.
But in 2 rounds straight, I didn't win 1 round.
Wow.
Not one. And he's really good. I've tried him about 100 times after that. He still beat me. Just not filmed.
Now, listen, that kind of gave you a little bit of humble pie, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But he's great.
Now, let's switch over to Tubby, too, because you've also played TJ, and I know you are looking to do a rematch as well coming soon.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that interaction.
Well, I've been on the island now for about a month or so, and I've come down here, and every time I come down here, TJ beats me. And so I thought I was pro okay at it, and he teases me. Like, sometimes I'll get just close enough, and then he'll be like, "No, sorry," like smash me down with like the ultimate, and I'm just standing there like going, oh, right here and ready to go. So, but he's got such a good heart, except when he's got a controller in his hand.
Yeah, listen, I think we got the innocent side of him, but if you do catch him in action, like you've seen some of the videos, you will see that he can get real savage in these games. So he comes out to win. Now, even saying that, I mean, just like Boom said, he came in, well, okay, it's an 8-year-old. I'm sure I could beat him. Was that sort of your mindset too?
A little bit, like how good can an 8-year-old be? But it's pretty good.
Well, you see, that's why we got to keep following the page, because I have a feeling that rematch is going to happen soon. And not to mention, I just found out that TJ actually wants to take on Darren Sammy. He's big on cricket. So that might be something in the works to look out for. But as we quickly wrap up, what stands out about TJ the most for you, especially after you've actually had personal interactions with him?
The smile after he wins. It ingrains in your brain, and you just want to win. But
yeah. Well, you see, and how about you, Boom? What would you say stood out or stands out the most when you think of TJ?
Basically, deep down, I really want to beat him but and get it recorded. But yeah, he's really great.
Now, you know what? I think that's a healthy gaming environment.
Yeah,
so now it's going to be pushing them to be their best, not to mention people like Scotty have gotten beaten. So I think we're going to really look forward to seeing maybe your rematch, definitely Tubby's rematch, and if he's going to be playing Darren Sammy. So St. Lucia, the whole point of this is just to show that gaming can be something that your kids can use in a way that still stimulates their mind. Not to mention, we know we're in a new era. We're hearing a lot of kids, I know my son is saying it too, YouTuber for like 4 years. Every time I ask what you want to be, YouTuber. So we need to start opening our minds to the things that are possible careers, especially with the new age that we're in. And of course, we can still have some fun in it. Age clearly doesn't matter. TJ is on the rise, and who knows who's next. So the Retro Game Store is here. They're expanding as well. So make sure you come check them out. If you're a gamer, then you definitely have a home here. And guys, thank you so much. You were definitely good fun. And we'll look out to see what content is coming off their page next. Bye.
Welcome to our Neuromovement Wellness Series. I am Daria. Neuromovement is an opportunity to discover the amazing powers of the brain for healing, pain relief, and rejuvenation. Some of the benefits of neuromovement are reduced tension, reduced pain, and overall well-being. Welcome to lesson number 4. In today's lesson, I will show you a practical tool that you can use if you're on your bed and you want to go into a lying position, or vice versa if you're lying and you want to come up into a seated position. So now, gently, right now, on the ground in a side-seated position. So we're leaning on our left hand, and Esther will now go slowly onto her left elbow. So you're still, again, on your side. From the left elbow slowly onto the left shoulder, and from there slowly and gently you roll onto your back. So just imagine, just visualize that you're on your bed and you're going from sitting into lying. And now if you're on the bed and you've just woken up and you want to go from lying into sitting, you gently roll to lie on your side. And then you'll slowly come up onto the left elbow. And from the left elbow, you gently push up onto the left and the right hand, and you come into side sitting. Now remember, this is just a tool and you will be on your bed. You can either roll through your left side or roll through your right side to do this movement. Just remember to go slow and gentle. So now for our lesson today, we will gently roll to lie on our backs. And now, go ahead and you bring the right arm across you. You'll use your left hand to hold the wrist of the right hand. Gently bend both knees and put the 2 feet standing. And in this position, right now we're only going to focus on the top half of the body, so the knees will remain stationary. You will be using the left hand to pull on the right hand. So the right hand will come across the body, and then you slowly come back to the starting or neutral point. And then you do the movement again. So you just gently tug in the right hand across the body. And again, as you're doing that movement, just notice whether you can feel maybe the shoulder, the ribs, the chest. Notice what is participating in this movement. Notice if the movement feels easy. So most times a movement can feel difficult if you are pushing too hard. Maybe if you've stopped or you're holding your breath. So just go ahead and allow yourself to breathe. So you inhale and you exhale. And now for our next movement, we'll combine the movement of the head. So now we gently roll the head to the left as we pull the right hand across. And again, it's a synchronized movement. And then you come back to your starting or neutral point. So you move at the same pace. And as you're moving the head, notice if more of you is participating in this movement of taking the right arm across the chest. And slowly and gently, you come back to the starting or neutral point. And we're going to now combine the movement of the knees. So you'll gently take the head, the arms, and the knees to the left. And just notice how this feels to you. Notice if you can feel the movement in the spine. And you slowly come back to your starting or neutral point. Remember to synchronize the movement of the head, the arm, and the knees. And for our next movement, we're going to add a little novelty. So we're going to take our knees to the opposite side. So as you roll your head and arms to the left, the knees gently roll to the right. And it does take a little bit of thinking. So always go ahead and just, internalize the movement before you do it. And slowly come back. And notice whether taking the knees in the opposite direction feels easier for you. And we'll do one more movement like this. Pace in the head, the arms, and the knees. So if one part stops moving, you need to stop the movement and come back to the starting or neutral point. And now gently lengthen the legs, place your arms beside you, and rest. And in this rest position, always check in with yourself. Now that we've done a lot of the movements on the left side of the body, just notice maybe the differences now within the right and the left side. And gently bend both knees again, put the 2 feet standing. This time we'll be taking the left hand across, and you use your right hand to hold the wrist of the left hand. And remember, in our first movement, we are only moving the arms. So you take the arm across the chest towards the right. And if at home you find maybe your head is going with the movement, always find a point of contact on the ceiling so that you can keep the head stationary. And again, compare the two sides. Notice which side may have easier movement or flow for you. And now for our next movement, we will combine the movements of the head. So everything will roll to the right. And as you're moving the head, notice if you feel like you can go further with the movement. So again, we're incorporating different parts of the body just as a way of showing that the more you allow the entire body to participate in the movement becomes easier. And now for our next movement, we'll incorporate the knees. So now the knees, the arms, and the head will roll to the right. And remember, it's a synchronized movement. So you want the knees, the arms, and the head to roll or move at the same pace. And just feel, notice whether the movement is easier on the left side or the right side. And now for our next movement, the knees will go in the opposite direction of the arms and the head. So when you tilt the knees, just notice the twisting in the spine. So you're creating freedom, you're creating flexibility in your movements. And we'll do one more movement like this. And just again, pay attention to the twisting in the ribs and in the spine. Just feel the ease of the movement. And now slowly and gently stop the movement, lengthen the legs and rest. So after you've done this movement, check in with yourself, notice how you are feeling. And it's a movement that you can possibly do maybe just before bed if you want to sort of ease any tensions throughout the body. So thank you so much for taking part in lesson 4. Thank you for taking part in our Neuromovement Wellness series.
All right, guys, so I'm pretty sure you are just as excited to see a rematch between Javon and TJ as I am.
I am here for that too.
But I certainly know I'm not getting in the ring with TJ. I'm staying far away. I am a watcher.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to stay on the sidelines. I will spectate because I don't want to go into that arena at all. It's a safer one. Yeah, absolutely. But shout out to our friends over at the Retro Game Store. They're looking to expand. And if you're a gamer, wanting to be a gamer, it's a great foundation. It's a family. It's a movement. And they showed us so much love as well.
Absolutely.
So make sure, you see, there we go. So if Jacques is vouching for that, you know I am telling the truth. So this is where we're going to wrap it up. Make sure you check them out as well. But we're hoping that you still go out there and have a positive day.
Have a wonderful day, guys, although we're counting down our final days with Chayla.
Oh, don't remind me. But don't worry, it's going to be worth it. And like I said, I'll be missed, but not that much. Jacques will still be here. And don't forget, even though I'm far away, I'm still kind of here. And whatever I can
family
share,
is wherever you
that's
are.
right. You know, and thank God for technology.
Absolutely.
So we'll only be like a Zoom call, a WhatsApp call away. So that's really close. So guys, we will see you soon. This is where we wrap up our Thursday together. So stay safe, keep positive, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.